It was my path. It was my chosen path by destiny or the universe, whatever you want to call it.
There's no easy life, but it's like, what challenges do you want? Choose your heart.
You're fighting against a system that's so established, that is so happy with the status quo.
No, it's your own beautiful little brain understanding the world in a new way now.
We don't grow from comfort.
This is the ideal setup, and I'm still not super fulfilled.
We saw an article of a Montreal family who had sold their house, all their belongings, and moved to Costa Rica. Like, wouldn't this be crazy fun?
Such an intimidating area of law. Were you working all the time?
Yes.
And while we're here, Marie, how do I say your last name? Hi everyone, welcome back to Non-Billable Hours. My name is Odette and I am the host. Today I have not only an international guest, but one who lives in Costa Rica. She's originally from Canada. Now she lives in Central America with her family. I'm very excited to introduce you all to her. But before that, I would like to encourage you to please comment, like, and subscribe to this channel. Bless my boyfriend. It not only helps this channel find its people, but it gives me a little dopamine rush when you do it. And it's free. And the way the Canadian dollar is right now, we could all use a little bit of help. Okay, my guest, Marie Sirois, a former mergers and acquisitions lawyer who, after burning out in her high-stress career, took a year off to heal. And now she lives in Costa Rica with her husband, her 2 kids, a lot of really cool animals. And she runs a coaching practice that blends neuroscience-backed tools with real-life strategy. She's a resilience and mindset coach for high-achieving women, which I know a lot of you out there are. So let's get into it. Marie, I'm really grateful for your time today. I know it's a busy time in your life, so I appreciate your coming anyways. I want to start on your story about how you first got into law. So I know you're not a practicing lawyer anymore, but what made you first choose to go into law? And was M&A on your radar, or did that come later?
No, not at all. So my dad's a lawyer, so I have the very, it was my path. It was my chosen path by destiny or the universe, whatever you want to call it. So my dad is a lawyer. He is semi-retired, but is still very much practicing and still teaching. And my grandfather was a lawyer and a judge. So I was the 3rd generation. I was called to the bar in my grandfather's gown. I'm like an Ontario bar. So it was really cool. It was a really cool, wow. By that time he wasn't alive anymore, but he was, when I went through articling, he was old and he was sick, but he was like, I'm so happy that you're doing this. So that's why I went into law. I did not think it's a beautiful story. And the people pleaser in me was just like, I'm going to do this. It's going to be amazing. Not really knowing what it entailed, what it was about. It was just like, I'm going to help people. I'm going to save people. I'm going to work for legal aid. I'm going to do these amazing things. And then real life happened. My grandfather was in litigation, private practice his whole life. And it really cost him dearly. It cost him time with his kids, and it cost him, he got a divorce and remarried. It wasn't from the outside, it looked like a very successful, right? The private practice in the 70s and 80s, and it was beautiful. My dad wanted to go into law, but went into law and went into the government right away. He was like, I will not be working 80 hours a week my entire life and not seeing my kids. So my dad gave me an example of much more balance. My dad has hobbies. My dad is a great lawyer, a great prof at University of Ottawa. He keeps winning the best teacher of the year award. He's really passionate about it. And he does other stuff. My own version of rebellion was that I didn't want to do exactly what my dad did. And I was like, I'm going to do private practice. I'm going to do it differently. That was my version of I'm going to do things my way. And that's how I got started in, articling, and then getting hired back in a corporate department. And then I need money to pay back my student loans. And I'm now an M&A lawyer. I don't, right? It just sort of happens.
And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here?
It happens very quickly.
Yeah. I really didn't think this was going to be doing, I thought maybe before I went to law school, I thought I'm going to do international law. And my dad's like,
That's not a thing.
like, that's not a thing. Like, you do you. And I did end like my career at the federal government for 3 years. And I was like, I guess my dad was right. I got some harmony, work-life balance.
I know nothing about corporate law or the business world. My friend Catherine, when she was on the podcast, we were talking about the types of law we know nothing about. And M&A was the example, because I know technically what it is and what it stands for. But to me, it's such an intimidating area of law. Were you working all the time?
Yes, especially because there's money involved and there's bottom line, and it's hard to set boundaries. Like, it's really hard when you're like, I'm not going to work tonight, and then it's like urgent, and I'm going to use quotes because now I understand that urgent was not a doctor, right? So yeah, exactly. Subjective. But the pressure's there in the firm. Like, the other people are staying, so it is hard. You can't just say like, I'm going to leave, peace out, and like, you guys figure it out. No. Especially I find as I was gaining like the years of call, I was having just more responsibility, and it's like, I can't leave because I've got people under me who are staying, who need guidance. And yes, to answer your question, but I did do at the beginning of my career a little bit of litigation, and I find it was the same thing. Like, these deadlines are there. You can't. What are you going to do? You're going to tell your client, like, I missed the deadline because I had to go see my kids, right? It is a weird career to try to navigate and impose things. You're fighting against a system that's so established and that is so happy with the status quo. Like, when you talk to older lawyers, they're like, we've always done it this way. It's like, yeah, but now there's like all these things. Like, you've always done it this way, but you've been divorced twice. Like, I don't want that for myself. Like, don't. Like, have you seen your kids? No, you haven't. So yes, I worked all the time, and I found that, like, be it M&A or be it litigation, I also did some bankruptcy at the beginning too. Like, there's always a deadline that's not moving. And that, as much as I was like a planner and trying to backtrack my things, like, I was super organized, but it was all consuming. I was in a space where I didn't feel like I was burning out over it. Like, I was just like, I'm in my hustle era. I'm building, I'm learning, and so true, right? Like, I also am very grateful that I went through that because I learned so much. But I would not be doing this today. Like, at my age, in this season of my life, it's just, no, thank you.
That's fair. I want to talk about your decision to leave the law. Was there a turning point? I know you said you didn't like feel super burned out while you were going through this, but was there a turning point or a specific moment you remember? Was it while you were unpacking a bunch of accordions on a conference table, or did it happen after you got to the government and you're like, this is the ideal setup and I'm still not super fulfilled?
I think there was a click moment, but it happened like I wouldn't hear it. I was so attached to that identity of like that piece and that title that defined me. So I went to the government and I joined in June 2019. I worked 9 to 5. It was like every day at 5 I would leave. And I did like great work, really fun stuff, great clients, because you're in-house, right? And then COVID hit. And because I was in the procurement arm, getting flights for Canadians to come back from Asia. And after that, I was buying those N95 masks, and then gowns, and then gloves, like all these things that we had to like buy from a plane in China, and had to negotiate at like 3 a.m. and try to get in line first because other countries were also fighting for those supplies. That was so cool. Like, to me, I was like,
role in the government.
Yeah. Hey, I'm doing the thing that I always said I wanted to do as a lawyer, like help people, like truly, like, this is fun. Like, this was like a tangible, like, we were buying mobile hospitals. We were buying, like, it was so cool. It was so cool. And we were part of a group, and it was lovely. I did not work 9 to 5. Like, I worked every day, every weekend. Like, I negotiated the vaccine contracts. So those were like, you're negotiating against big pharma. And it was so interesting. The problem was that it didn't stop. Like at first it was like amazing. And then a year in, I was like, I can't. The urgency and the sense of purpose that I had was no longer there. So when you don't care, you're like, what am I doing? Why am I working this much? And that was the point of my burnout. At that point, I was like incapable of doing anything else but work. And I was just crying. Like I was working, I had my laptop, I was on the floor and I was crying. And the kids were just like, why is mommy crying? And Pat's like, she's tired and she's struggling. And I was just like, this can't be this, right? Like this is not going to be the rest of my life. Like me crying, me taking meetings with the camera off because I'm crying. Like it can't be this. So
No.
I was eventually put on medical leave. They're like, oh, this is what a burnout is, and depression and anxiety. And I had insomnia and like all of the fun things. Only after like a few months of rest, like really forced rest, which was really hard for a person whose identity is in the work. Like, what do you do? And it's not like it's a vacation. Like you need to take care of your brain. You need to rest. That was such a struggle for me. Realizing like, wait, if I'm no longer a lawyer, who am I? What am I? What is it I like to do? Like, what are my hobbies? I don't have hobbies.
Do you like stuff?
All of these things started to unravel from this one event of me just finding a lack of purpose. I don't have to be a lawyer. Wow.
Did that blow your mind? Like,
yes.
Were you scared of that thought when you were like, I am not sentenced to this. I actually have free will and I can make the choice to leave it if I want to?
It was so scary and so surprising that I get to do something else. I was like, what? This is a possibility for me? And I remember going to my parents because I was really scared of telling them, like, maybe I don't want to be a lawyer anymore. And they're like, yeah, of course. Why? What's wrong? I'm like, well, what if I'm not a lawyer anymore? They're like, so? You know, when you're like before law school and you're saying like, I'm going to apply to law school and people tell you like, law school opens up so many doors. And then you go to law school and you're like, what doors?
Yeah.
I can be a lawyer.
There's the door to the library. There's the door to the moot court room. There's the door to the therapist's office. There's the door to the bank for a loan.
Help me, I'm poor.
No.
Listen, yeah,
what
exactly.
doors?
What doors? Get a job.
Get a job.
Get your articles, get hired back, and then work. Yeah. Now, finally, maybe with social media, people are starting to see that, oh, there are other options. Yeah. That's cool. Like, cool. Like, this law degree helps you with so many things, but doesn't make you that one thing only.
Even when I look at old law school classmates who are now working in something outside of the law, and I'm seeing what they're doing with their law degree and their experience, I'm like, oh, I never thought of using a law degree that way. You know, it opens up your mind to what's possible. Was there parts of that you had to grapple with in terms of, well, if I'm not a lawyer, what am I?
Yeah. And I would say the conversation in my head was the hardest one. The people around me were so supportive, but me, like, I think we're all our own worst critics, right?
Yeah.
Especially where, like, at a point where my career was close to being my sole focus. Of course, I had my children and my husband, but like, if you look at percentage-wise, like if you look at a pie and how much time I was spending, and even if it was just not time, but maybe like the energy of even I'm eating dinner, I'm still thinking about that thing I have to do. Yeah. So I'm still not fully present. So the pie was like, the majority of the pie was work. And there was like little pieces of like family and friends.
This is a pie chart describing my favorite bars.
It felt like jumping into the unknown. It felt like taking just like a leap of faith. At the same time, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. Like I've done scarier things, and yes, I'm scared, but the fear cannot be the thing that's going to stop me from doing. We don't grow from comfort. We grow from the fear. So let's go. It felt intimidating. And at the same time, I love learning And I think that's true for like most lawyers, right? Like,
Did you have anyone who had made a similar leap, or were you writing that story anew?
yeah, back then I felt totally alone. And I think now I see many more lawyers, especially like on LinkedIn or even Instagram, sharing their cool things. Like, right? That's
Right.
how I met you and so
Yeah.
many other people who are doing other cool things. As I was going in, it gave me like more fuel and more like permission to like truly fully be, right? This is a fun space to be in with
Yeah.
many like amazing, mostly female lawyers who do this, I find, like who are like stepping away from what they thought was the exact path and just doing something cool. Back then I felt very alone, but I did meet at some point a friend who I became a very close friend. She's a physician, so an MD, and
Oh,
she went
okay.
through a burnout same time that I did. So we worked together on a few offerings that we were working for professionals about how to figure out how not to burn out. So that was really fun to be working with her at the beginning when I felt like not unsure, but maybe like I needed the friend. I needed like the support of doing something with building something with somebody else.
When I look at these people who have either started careers outside of law or started their own businesses, and I see what they were doing before. And to me, I'm like, your career or your track record is so impressive that I can't imagine someone who's like working in M&A or like negotiating COVID vaccine contracts on behalf of the government. Like, I can't imagine someone like that doubting your abilities or second guessing yourself or being afraid of anything. And the more I talk to people, the more I realize that like we all have our stuff. We all have our crap, no matter how successful you are, no matter whether you know what M&A means or you don't. Like, we all have our fears and our I guess our self-limiting beliefs. But the more you talk to other people and the more you kind of look at what others are doing, like you said, it gives you that almost permission to be like, well, if they're doing something like this is clearly possible. There are people that are open and receptive to it. Why don't I? Sometimes I feel like our legal background is like, we're always looking at precedents. What does the law say? What does the case law say? What did the judge before me in a similar case think? And we're so used to looking at the past to kind of figuring out what's allowed right now. It's not an industry that loves to innovate quickly.
No, and you're right. It sounds like we're waiting for the permission of like
Yeah.
the precedent of somebody having done something, but in the past, our subconscious mind is just trying to keep us safe, trying to keep us in like the known, because the known is safe. Like, what are your fears? What are your limiting beliefs? Like, what are and like we all have them. Like, newsflash, unless you're maybe like a narcissist, like.
I was going to say, if you don't have them, I feel like that's a little bit of a warning sign as well.
Yeah, like the self-awareness is kind of key, right? To being like a human being that cares for others and cares for yourself. So like yeah.
What made you decide that you want to do what you're doing now?
I think I Googled something like, what should I do? And I think it came like, you know, like you have the little summaries and it was more like, what are you good at? Like, what are your strengths? And I was like, I'm just good at being a lawyer. Yes, you're a good lawyer, but like, why are you good at your job?
I work too hard, I care too much, and sometimes I can be too invested in my job.
I like problem solving. Like, that's my favorite. Like, when somebody comes and says like, we can't do this, it's like, well, let's figure out a way that we can do this legally, that everyone's happy. And I love negotiating. Like, that's one of my, like, I love it. Like, the strategy behind it. I was like, what can I do with this? Like, should I be like a mediator? And I was like, nope, that's still too close to that. Like, it's
Still in it.
nope.
Yeah.
And that's when I found coaching. I had worked with a coach who was a neuro-linguistic programmer, so NLP. I don't know if you're familiar with that modality. It's basically your brain stores all these memories as pictures. So like if I explain to you, like, think of Christmas, you're going to think of like either a Christmas or there's something that comes up for everyone, right?
Imagine Christmas wishes shooting out of your eyes. I can't.
So when we store our memories, we store like little snapshots. So what you're doing is you're going through your like timeline of like little snapshots and you are removing negative emotions like that are attached to any of those like negative connotations of events. So when I did that, I was like, this is insane. this is like the thing. And I was like, it took me 5 sessions. And she's like, all right, have a nice life. And I was like, what? Have a nice life? Okay, wait, this is, I want to do this. Like, this is like one and done. I've done it with so many clients, so many family members, friends. And it's just like immediately like a weight is lifted. And you're just like, you become this person that you've been trying to become, but that your limiting beliefs or your fears were weighing you down. So when I did that, that's when I was like, that's when I became like fired up. And I was like, this is really cool. And then because all of those things have been unlocked and like removed, you see things differently. It's like the box that you saw things is no longer there. So you have all these possibilities for your career, for your life, for your thing that come up that you didn't know about, that you could not know about before because your subconscious mind was closed to it. Right. But if you're talking to your friend about like that new Toyota red Corolla that you want to buy, then the next day you're going to see so many red Corollas, and that's your reticular activating system. That's your nervous system being like, here, it is proving this, it's proving that, it's proving that you want it. So your subconscious mind is doing that to help you. So if you're doing positive things, if you're positive thoughts, it's going to prove those positive things. But if you're also, it works the other way too. Yeah. So like if you have all those limiting beliefs, it's going to bring them back to you and say like, see, this is why we can't do this. It's going to show you all the ways you can't. But when you remove those, then you see those red Corollas everywhere. And that's where it's like, whoa, the possibilities. Whoa, I can do this. I can do. And this is where like, even working with my clients, they come up with things that I wouldn't think of because it's not about me. It's about them coming up with like ideas or solutions of like how they can be more present. And they're not my strategies. It's their strategies. It's what works for them.
When I hear something or see something or someone talks to me about a concept or I learn a new word, all of a sudden I'm hearing that word. I'm seeing that word way more. And I guess it's not that I'm seeing it more. It's just that I'm registering it more. And my brain, like you said, is proving to me that that's a thing that exists.
Exactly.
Everywhere I look, someone is breaking the law. Dog, no leash. Man, littering.
It's so funny because I never actually thought about the why. I'm just like, oh, it must be the universe just showing it to me. But it's like, no, it's your own beautiful little brain understanding the world in a new way now, right?
Mm-hmm. Like we've added a new layer of vocabulary, so we're going to integrate that and show it to you all the time. And it's the same thing when people say like, my phone is listening to me. Yeah. No, your brain is listening to you. And that's why like you would normally scroll past this ad, but now you're like, wow, this is like the thing we were talking about.
Did you start coaching when you were still in Canada? Because you live in Costa Rica now.
I was coaching a little bit when I was still employed because after my burnout, I did go back to work for a full year while we were planning our escape. So we were planning like our Costa Rica life, and I went back to the government, but I went to an agency instead, and it was a lovely place. And at the same time, like great people, and I got to teach them about these subconscious tool sets. So I was teaching them about like, burnout prevention and little things that we can do throughout the day so that we don't get to that point.
Do you only exclusively work with lawyers, or do you work with anyone in any sort of profession that's experiencing burnout or just wants to, better, like you said, hack their brain to kind of work in a new and better way?
Yeah, mostly the people who approach me are either lawyers, doctors, or like executives. And I think it's because of like the season in life that they're in. They've climbed and climbed and climbed, and they're like, yeah. Like, wait, what? I was climbing, but was I climbing because I wanted to, or because I thought that's what was expected of me, or that's what, the little voice is telling you? And the little voice is like programming from the year 0 to 7 that you heard, like, you're going to be a great lawyer, or you're going to be a CEO one day, or like all those things that we hear and that we internalize. So those are like the majority of people I work with. That being said, I've also worked with like entrepreneurs and founders, because like whenever you're doing that type of work, that's where like you encounter like your limits. You're like, oh shoot, like this is a limiting belief that keeps coming up and keeps showing up as this. So how can I work with that? How can I rewire my brain so that I no longer feel that way. I help people to not burn out, but mostly I help them to get like their evenings back. So
Yeah.
like how can you you don't quit your job, but maybe you don't check your phone at 9:30 p.m. And that just that rest makes it so that, because a lot of people come to me and they're like, I love my job, but
Right.
I can't keep going that way, right? We've worked really hard. It doesn't mean that you have to quit, but it does mean that like something has to change, and that something gets to just be you. And when you change, like things around you, like I said, like when we were talking about the red Corolla, things start to happen in ways that you're like, how, like this is just like, it's all falling into place where it should. And why is that? Because you start to see things differently, and you start to, make decisions accordingly, and you're able to put your phone down without the guilt. Like I could put my phone away, but like I felt like a literal physical pull to just check.
Yep.
Just
It's after work hours. Guess where my work phone is?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Was I looking at it right before we logged on? Absolutely. Was my work day over? Yes. But I'm still checking my emails because, like, why not at 6 p.m. on a Wednesday?
Because that's what we do, right? I give myself grace because I absolutely did not have any tools. Like I had no idea.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to set a boundary, or even if I did, like how do you like impose it?
Enforce
Like because you
it.
can enforce. That's the hardest thing. Like you can have all these ideas. If it's based on willpower, like eventually it will just erode, and then you're stuck picking up the phone.
And then you find the testers who want this to try to scope creep it back out. And it's like, okay, well, she won't answer her phone at 7:30 on a Friday, but what about 6:30 on a Thursday? And what about 9 a.m. on a Monday, or like 8 a.m. on a Monday? And they just like, and it's not because it's not like this savage, like mean thing.
No,
it's like everyone
it's not
has
mean.
a job to do, and but it still has the same effect on your nervous system and on your personal life and your family life and everything. It's like, it doesn't matter what the intent is, because the effect is that.
There's one thing that I tell my clients when they, because we don't start with boundaries, because that comes later. Like I'm not going to tell you.
Ask, like, where do you introduce the boundary?
No, that's like, you can't do that at first because you're like, because you feel so like it's so foreign to you, right?
Yes.
We like incorporate that later on. I don't have to say anything. It just happens. Like once they start rewiring and embodying the person who they are and they want to become, it just becomes second nature. My boundaries are me. Like my boundaries are not imposed on others. It's just like, it's my line. Yes. And you can try to cross it, but I'm not going to let you. And that's it. Like you don't have to apologize. You don't have to, we're not doctors. We're not saving lives. And this is something that my doctor told me when I was like burnt out. And I was like, I know, but like, how do you do it? He's like, Marie, I'm a doctor.
You can tell me I'm a doctor. No,
I'm not on call 24/7 every day of the week.
That's it.
Yes, I'm on call. I'm scheduled to be on call, but I'm not on call 24/7. Whereas you seem to be. And I was like, oh shit. We've taken on this, like, I work all the time because it's an emergency, but like people who work in emergencies don't work all the time.
No, firefighters have their shifts. Yeah, they might live at the station for, 48 hours to a week, but then they go home and they get 48 hours to a week off. Pilots on long haul flights, like, yeah, they're in charge. They have co-pilots. They can go take a nap. Like They are not flying that 13-hour flight without any help. But there's something, you're right. There's something about like lawyers and people in similar positions where it's like, I don't know if it's like a self-importance thing, because at the same time, it's like a bit of imposter syndrome, but also a bit of like, no one can do this but me.
Yeah.
And if I don't respond to this email right away or pick up this phone, like something's going to go wildly wrong. And it's that weird interplay between the two, but they're always both present in a lot of us, I think.
That's a really good point. Like the self-importance and the like, I'm the only one who can answer this. And it's like, really? When I was put on leave, my doctor, who's like this doctor about like, I don't work all the time. He was like, you're not signing on tomorrow, Marie. I'm like, well, yeah, I have to transfer. He's like, Marie, you're not signing on. I was like, okay, like how would, and then I got replaced because I was working on this file. I sent my notice like my doctor's note on Thursday at 10 p.m. And then by 9 a.m. on the Friday, they had somebody in my seat replacing me. And I was like,
What a miracle.
I'm replaceable? And it felt so liberating. And I was like, oh my God. Like, because all my life I thought, like, as a lawyer, like, I'm the best. I can do this. Like, this is my file. Like, I have all the story. I have the background. I have the history. The client knows me. I've created all this goodwill. Who cares? Like, if you're hit by a bus, the file will go on without you.
We see files transferred all the time. Like companies take back files from, firms, or files get transferred because someone goes on leave or someone quits or whatever. Or someone, like I just got assigned a 6-day hearing because another lawyer's double booked and I'm jumping into it. And that lawyer is very smart, but none of us are replaceable. Like, you're right. If I get hit by a bus tomorrow, who's going to do my work? It's not going to the insurance company is going to be like, okay, all of Odette's files, you all get $1 million.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
we don't know what to do without her. They'll figure it out.
The world keeps turning, even if we're not on it. So that like the humility piece is like a big one, especially we're talking about identity, and there's that too of like, okay, like I'm basically like, a clog in the wheel, and I'm just doing things and I'm pushing things along, but I'm not that important. Once you realize that, I felt very free. There's something else too I find, like, in our profession now, like the use of phones makes it so that we're available 24/7, whereas like it didn't used to be that way. And I think it's the same for every profession. But like I worked with this really great lawyer earlier on in my career, and he was such a good mentor. He was like, when I would come in and they would say like, okay, the Montreal office needs an opinion letter. It needs to be done today. And he's like, you need to train them. And I was like, I need to train my colleagues. He's like, you need to train them to give you proper notice. We can't do this. And I was like, what? He's like, you guys need to relax. I was like, I can't. He's like, let's go to lunch. And I was like, what? Lunch?
Whatever. I'm getting cheese fries.
He wouldn't bring his phone because he was of that generation, right? And when I started working, like I articled in 2007, the articling students did not have phones, did not have company phones.
Wow.
And that's when like the iPhone just started. Like, I've seen the evolution from like no phone to like you leave the office and you're done to like being literally glued to the phone.
Yep.
So there's that expectation that we're always available. At the same time, there are, and some lawyers like evolved into like we're always available, but some of them are like, you need to train your clients and opposing counsel and whoever else that you're not going to answer the email in the next 10 minutes. Even if you want to, like,
don't.
Exactly. Don't. Because when you do, you're setting, especially to clients, because then they're just like, they know you're like trigger happy with the phone. So they're just going to send you a bunch of like quick questions, which what a quick question is.
So when I started articling, I articled in 2014, and we were given a BlackBerry.
Like a firm phone. Yeah,
a firm phone. And so we had to be in the office by 8. So I would be on transit by 7, and I would be answering emails on my thing and like panic typing, and like nothing was urgent. I was working on like a motion for undertakings that didn't, that mattered, but didn't matter in the split second.
In the emergency sense, yeah.
In an emergency sense. And I was like trying to answer all my emails before I got to the office, because I knew as soon as I got to the office, something else would crop up. And there were days where I would literally set my alarm for 3 or 4 a.m. so that I would get to the office by like 5 to have a few hours to be all caught up, because God forbid, like someone have to follow up with me for something. And that was the way I practiced law for, I don't know, probably up until 2020, 2021.
Wow.
And now I'm much more of the, we could all use a little help, but I'm much more of the, you can wait an hour or half an hour or a business day for my response to your non-urgent question, because the task switching also, I find, really gets me. Because if you're working on something, say you're like drafting a document and then someone emails you about a completely unrelated file, if you're task switching 20 times while you're doing that document, everything takes longer. And then no wonder we never are done when we feel we should be done, because we're not setting those boundaries, even in our own brain of, I'll deal with that in a minute.
There's studies that show that when you're doing that task switching, it takes your brain 20 minutes to get back into like the proper flow state to be able to like get back into it. Yeah. So imagine like every email that comes through is like interrupting it. So you never get to that, like, I'm in drafting mode, right? I recommend that everybody move to like a single tasking approach where like you put like a timer and you turn your Outlook off. You don't get any notifications on your computer and you draft for an hour. And you'll be amazed at how much you get done in an hour of like uninterrupted focus. Because it's a commodity that like we don't even have anymore. Like, because social media and like emails and stuff like makes it so that our nervous system is always like there's pings everywhere. Like we're always on high alert. But like once you're able to focus, if you give yourself just 40 minutes of like deep focus, I mean, we used to do that before.
Take you a business day. If you let interruptions happen, that will take a hold. It will expand to the space you give it, and it'll take you till 5 p.m. when you could be done it before lunch.
It's a weird way of like being so connected, and which only makes us less efficient.
Happy.
And happy. Yeah. My phone, just if you're ever trying to reach me, my phone is always on silent and on do not disturb. So there's no way to actually reach me. I think my mom and my husband can. Like they bypass that, but they're the only ones. Like anybody else, I'll get to you when I get to you, because I can't deal with like the
all muted. Everything is muted. Instagram messages, WhatsApp groups, Facebook Messenger groups, everything is muted. The only people that are not muted are my mom, my partner, a couple of my best friends, my sister, and it's like their messages and phone calls. Anything else, I don't need to know how many people have liked my Instagram story.
Yeah.
While I'm in court or while I'm trying to fall asleep, it gives me anxiety too, and I don't like it. So I just
because it's fighting for our attention, right? Like all these tools are fighting to get our attention just so they can get ad space. Like it's just it's not about us. Like it's about them getting us on their machine and not them to stay on it. So because I don't do that anymore, I also don't expect people to get back to me. Like I don't have this expectation that like you should be getting back to me within 20 minutes. Like I don't have that.
And you live in Costa Rica now. So I know that, speaking of making the things around you kind of work for you, like turning off your notifications or like maybe changing your career, those kinds of things. How has moving to a different country kind of helped you in your, I guess, either your business or with your nervous system or all of the above? Like what was the logic behind moving there?
The first thing, I hate winter. I was born and raised in Ottawa, and I hate winter. I would spend a lot of time inside in the wintertime, like a lot of time inside. And it got like, when we were finally looking at like mental health and like circadian rhythms and like being outside and seeing the sun and just having fresh air and all of that, we realized like we're not doing that. There's that reel about like I'm going on a stupid walk for my stupid mental health. That's what it felt like. And it does work. Like that's the thing, is that it really does like lift your mood. But anyway, I just felt like I miss the sun, and I'm Latina, like on my mom's side, and I've always loved the sun, the heat, the beach. We decided to go on a trip. We saw an article of a Montreal family who had sold their house, all their belongings, and moved to Costa Rica. And we looked at it and we're like, wouldn't this be crazy fun? Like, wouldn't this be like so cool if we could pull this off too? Like we're both like lawyers with like, we're employees. We have always followed the path, like the very traditional path, like keep climbing the ladder and keep doing it. And now we're reading this, both of us, and we're like, this would be cool. Like this would be really cool. And very much not like us. Like, we didn't take gap years. We didn't we were just like work, right?
Yeah.
And so it felt very much not like us. And we booked like that night that we read the article, we booked a trip. Just a 1 week vacation just to see, like we can't move somewhere if we haven't been, right? we're
Yeah.
still like we're still two rational
Yeah.
lawyers who need to like, you know,
Even if you're
pros
like
and
moving to
cons.
Costa Rica, you're like, how do I do this responsibly?
Yeah. Like what are the pros, what are the cons, what are the lists,
Yeah.
what are the things,
What's the
right?
list? Yeah.
So we're like, okay, so let's book this trip. Let's go. So we get there, we get to the hotel, and there's like super loud music. And my son back then had like a lot of anxiety, and we're like, oh shit, like loud noises. It's gonna be like, is he gonna freak out? And we turn around and he's like dancing, and he's just like,
No.
oh, this is new. But maybe it's because we're on a vacation, because we're still trying to figure out like, you know, pros and cons. And okay, like
Yeah.
he's good, but maybe it's vacation. So like we explored the area. We really fell in love with, it sounds super woo, but like the energy of Costa Rica, like
Yeah.
the vibe.
Yep.
Even just when you land, like every time I land back here, I'm like, oh, I feel like my level of like stress, even though I'm not that stressed, still comes down a notch. Like it's just like,
Yeah.
like even the locals, like it's all about pura vida, and sometimes that
Mhm.
can be a negative thing because it means like I'm not gonna do the thing that I was gonna do, but at the same time, if you change their mindset, you're like, it is just pura vida, like it's fine, everything is okay. So
Yeah.
we stayed the week. We loved it. And throughout that, I think 2 more years, we visited 5 more times. And every time we'd go to a
Wow.
different area and try to figure out, we visited schools, visited a whole bunch of neighborhoods to figure out like where we'd like to live. Like, could we do this? Like, what would it look like for us to live here? Visit schools. And we just like, at some point it sort of started to become a reality, like a possibility of a reality, and we're like, this could actually work. And we're both like very scared of that, because we're like, we're not people who go outside of like the norm, because back then I was still like, you know, working as a lawyer, going back as a lawyer, just like doing the thing. And it felt very scary, but at the same time it was like a good kind of scary. I can do this, I will do this for
Yeah.
my kids. And it's just, it has completely expanded their view of the world and mine as well, like, and ours as well. And it's like, so when we talk about like what would we like to do next, like are we here forever? And they're like, maybe we go to Spain, maybe we go to Australia. They have like this like worldwide view of the world, as opposed to like, let's go back to Canada. Like before the move, we were very like pragmatic about it. And after the move, I think Costa Rica has shown us that we need to be more Costa Rica. It's not like I live on the beach 24/7. I still have children. I still have, you know, a career that I love. My husband has his own firm. So there's all those realities as well, but with the background of like the beach.
Nothing's easy. Like there's no easy life, but it's like, what challenges do you want? Like choose your hard, because it's going to be hard there. It's going to be hard here. It's going to be hard wherever you are. But it's like, what do you value and what do you prioritize? And what are you willing to, you know, what are the hards you're willing to trade in for the goods that you want, and go out and look for it. And I think we started this conversation talking about, you know, self-limiting beliefs. And I think it's incredible that not only you and your husband, but your kids are seeing what happens when you kind of step outside of that and they see what's possible, because so many kids in this world would not say, oh, I think we should go live in Spain next. Or like, what about Australia? You know what I mean? Like me growing up, I just wanted to get the hell out of the suburbs. That was it. I was like, I'm here and I want to be here because there's tall buildings here.
Yeah.
And that was my range, and that's okay. But the fact that you're able to give your kids that perspective is pretty incredible. And to have it for you too, because as lawyers, we are very this.
That's it.
And
even like my husband runs his own virtual law firm, right? And like it is like so many lawyers that he speaks to are like, that's not possible. It's like, well, I've been doing it, so like it works, right? But like the first response from the majority of lawyers is that like, that doesn't work. It's like, okay, well, it's been
like,
working.
All right. I guess I'm not doing it then.
Just like you said, choose your hard. I will choose this hard any day. Like this, like, you know, I can go to the beach and hold my, like I do like a beach and breathe sessions, like mini meditations on the beach. And it's like, how cool is that? Like I can do that. It takes me like It's a 3-minute drive for me to go to the beach.
Yeah.
I bring my laptop and I host like a free breathwork meditation on Monday mornings. Like it's just so cool that I get to do that. And we were in a lovely place in Canada. Like we were in a lovely house. So it's not that we didn't love it. It's that we're like, what's next? Right? Like what's this next iteration that we can do? Like just keep again with the like keep climbing, but like on a different, like we're not climbing the corporate ladder. We're climbing like
keep growing.
What we do as hobbies, and because I have hobbies now, things like that.
I love that for you. Like, what are some hobbies that you've either discovered or rediscovered through?
Yeah, I think my favorite one has been reading. Like I'm a bookworm, like, and I had sort of let go of that when I was working, when I was too busy and I couldn't, and it got to a point where I was, when I was like the clinically burnt out, where I would read the same paragraph over and over again and it didn't work. Whereas now I'm like devouring books. I'm reading fiction, nonfiction, and I've taken the guilt away. Like I used to feel guilty over having hobbies. Like I used to feel like I was cheating or like I should be more productive with my time.
Yeah.
Whereas now I'm like, wait, this is like either I'm resting. So like if I'm reading like fiction, then like a chick lit, then it's great.
Yes.
But if I'm reading nonfiction, I'm also learning. I'm learning about the brain. I'm learning about the neurosystem. I'm learning all these things that I can share too. So like it's a hobby, but at the same time it's learning. So that's like learning is something that I consider a hobby that I didn't really have time for when I was, overwhelmed by the amount of work. My therapist asked me like the first meeting, she's like, what are your hobbies? I'm like, I work and I have children. Those are my hobbies. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
And she's like,
what do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean? Like, I'm not a person who's allowed to have hobbies.
Brother, what's that?
I have tendencies of starting new hobbies, like full transparency. And I'm like, I'm going to do this. It's going to be amazing. And then I'm like, I don't really like it that much.
But that's okay too. Like that's
okay.
information and you're growing and you're learning things about yourself, even if you hate it or suck at it or it's not quite for you. Like what's the harm in trying?
Exactly. Like there's no harm. And I find, and it's true that it's been proven that when we're doing something with our hands, we retain more information. So like if you're listening to an audiobook, so like remember like your grandmas who would crochet or knit, they were actually super involved in the conversations and like retaining all this information, because when your hands are busy, like it signals your brain to like get busy too and like retain that information.
I'd like to ask my guests a random question to kind of finish up. And my question for you is, because I know you live in Costa Rica and there's a ton of biodiversity there, but I also know that you're multilingual. So my question is, if you could be able to talk to animals or speak every language fluently, I know you already speak 3.
Je m'appelle Claude.
Je découpe plow.
But which of those would you choose and why?
Oh, that's such a good question. I think I would choose the animals because they're so cool. They are, because I feel like, and this is like my brain thinking, like I could figure out most languages or like communicate with people, like, travel places where I can't speak any language, and we figure it out. Animals, I can't, like, no. I have a little dog and he's really good at communicating, but like I would love to see and hear what like the sloth is thinking.
Then no one knows what does the fox say.
We saw armadillos crossing the street the other day. We saw wild boars crossing the street. Like, imagine having a conversation. I would love to have a conversation with them. My son is like obsessed, like literally obsessed with animals. So he would love for me to have that superpower.
Well, for now, you can only talk to humans. But if humans want to talk to you and they want to reach out, or where can people find you?
I think right now the easiest thing to find me is on LinkedIn. So it's just Marie Sirois, so MARIESIROIS. And my website is just my name, so mariesirois.com.
Well, Marie,
thank you so much.
I had such a great time speaking with you. Like I said, I know there's a lot going on weather-wise where you are right now, so I hope everyone is safe and okay.
Thank you.
and that your family keeps doing the good work to help out others. It's really a testament to how you raise them. So
This has been really fun. Thank you so much. And I have to say, like, I love your podcast. I love the little clips and everything. And that's like my favorite part.
This is the best part. This is the best part.
And maybe we'll make it out to Costa Rica again sometime and we'll look
Yes, of course. Like, we'll be around.
Okay. All right. That was my conversation with Marie. She is way too cool for me. And to all of you watching, if you like this episode, please give it a like and feel free to comment below. Maybe one thing you took away from our conversation, or maybe a conversation or a topic you'd like to see us explore on this channel in the future. I take requests. You can find all of Marie's information and links in the show notes, so be sure to check her out. And thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Bye. The card. You want to take my notes? She's so friggin' cool. She's French. She lives in Costa Rica. She speaks Spanish. She's beautiful. Oh, sorry. that'll be a blooper. And there you go. Today.